Philip Hammond SKEWERED for being deluded after claims the UK only needs 50,000 troops. Senior cabinet sources recently disclosed that the Chancellor believes the army would be sufficient at its lowest level since the 1700s. Johnny Mercer, Conservative MP for Plymouth Moor View, said, "Philip Hammond is deluded if he really believes this. We couldn't even fulfill our NATO commitments with an army to 50,000, let alone mount a sustained defense of our nation or its dependent territories." He also told The Sun, "The Chancellor also appears to have forgotten that reducing the number of our troops by any number would completely breach our election manifesto promise to maintain force levels made only in June." The Chancellor's comments reportedly came during an exchange with former Defense Secretary Michael Fallon in front of Theresa May at Downing Street. The fury from the ex-army officer comes as Mr. Hammond and newly appointed Gavin Williamson are holding military talks following the latter's calls for an extra £2 billion in the defence budget. Mr. Hammond's figure significantly falls behind the size of armies across Europe, with France standing at 111,000, Italy at 99,000, Spain coming in at 77,000 and Germany's 60,000. Britain's army currently sits at 78,000. Recruitment problems have prevented it from reaching its targeted standing strength of 82,000. Senior military officials reportedly stated last night that a number of 50,000 would not allow the UK to initiate a large-scale invasion or peacekeeping operation again. It was also stated that any war could only be sustained for 6 months. Over the weekend a furious cabinet row broke out over military spending, with allies of Philip Hammond claiming the new defense secretary does not know one end of a rifle from the other. Sources close to the Treasury are reportedly furious at Mr. Williamson, who they claim has orchestrated a backbench rebellion against the Chancellor to force him into offering more money for defense. In return they have hit out at the minister's lack of experience after being elevated to the role following the resignation of Sir Michael Fallon. One source said, "When Williamson is in with all these grizzled old forces types he just sits there looking like Private Pike from Dad's army." However, allies of the defense secretary have hit back, claiming the Chancellor oversaw damaging cuts to the armed forces when he was in charge of the department. It comes amid conflict between Conservatives over proposed cuts to the stretch armed forces, with MP James Gray urging Mr. Hammond to dig deep in his pockets or face a very substantial rebellion. And Tobias Ellwood, the hero MP of the Westminster Bridge attack who also served as a captain in the Royal Green Jackets, is said to have privately threatened to resign over severe cuts. People close to the Chancellor claim the outcry among MPs is a ploy by the newly appointed Defense Secretary. Speaking to the Mail on Sunday, one Hammond ally said, "Once a whip, always a whip. It's bogus. We think Williamson is manipulating the party to put pressure on us by encouraging backbenchers to protest, so he can claim victory and win the respect of the forces chiefs. All he is doing at the Mud is going around asking, what would his predecessor Michael Fallon have done? He knows nothing about how to run a big spending department, and sweet fa about defense. But he does know his way around the MPs." Another added, "That boy doesn't know one end of a rifle from another." Allies of Mr. Williamson, who caused shock among the defense community when he replaced Sir Michael Fallon despite having no military experience, were quick to hit back. One said, "When Hammond was defense secretary, he oversaw damaging cuts to the armed forces, leaving them in a parlous state. He is now rightly nervous that a light is about to be shown on his poor record."